Uh, First order of business is to read the preamble. As chair of the Alton Planning Board to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis, and in accordance with Governor Sununu's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically, and these reasons shall be reflected in the minutes. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone. Members of the public wishing to attend this meeting electronically may call the conference call number from home. Follow the instructions listed under news and announcements on the town's website, www.alton.nh.gov. B, providing additional public access by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through the link that is listed under news and announcements. C, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to abutters and the public of how to access the meeting via telephone, conference, and by using Zoom. Providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting that a member of the public wishes to speak or be recognized during the public input at the public hearing. If you are calling in by conference call, press the star sign and then 9 to raise your hand to request to speak to the board. If you are using a computer, use the raise hand button to request to speak to the board. Several members of the public may be conferenced in, and requests to speak will be handled sequentially, one at a time. The Zoom moderator will allow you to speak when the board opens public input. E, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with the access. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting, please call 603-507-1002. Adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via conference call, or there are difficulties with the town's equipment, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to Tuesday, November 17th, 2020 at 6 p.m. at the town hall. Until further notice, to keep our members and staff safe and to comply with RSA 91-A, the COVID-19 state of emergency, and the governor's orders on restrictions of public gatherings, the town of Alton has moved from in-person meetings to remote audio and participation meeting until further notice. You may call the planning department at 603-875-2162 between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. for more information and for dial-in code and meeting ID. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, also please state whether anyone is in the room with you during the meeting. Okay, roll call.
Tom Hook,
Virgil,
all by myself.
Virgil McDonald, Selectman.
Anyone with you?
Nope.
Roger Semple? Scott Williams? Russ Wilder?
Bob Regan, co-chair and chair for the night. First item on the agenda is to
Approve the agenda.
agenda.
I make a motion, we approve Make a motion, we approve the agenda as read. Is there any
Second.
addition?
I have a question on what might be added and what might not be added, because as Jessica and I had talked before, I wanted to talk about some other things, and she said if I wanted to talk about anything pertaining to the subdivision, it had to be a fully noticed meeting, and we've talked to other applicants before in here, and they haven't been noticed a thing, and these aren't to be making decisions, just conversation.
You should be able to add, for your information, you should be able to add to the agenda and ask the board for information without notifying everybody.
Okay, so can I just intervene for a moment? The agenda is written. We voted on May 12th that other information and anything added to the agenda needs to be noticed, and it will be put on an agenda if we have time, or it goes on another meeting. So I did add Scott's letter that he's referring to over here, and as an applicant, he wouldn't be able to add to the planning board's agenda. So the planning board agenda is already written the way it is.
But
And he's requesting to talk about changes that he wants to make to his subdivision. And that just can't happen at a regular meeting.
It's not a substantial,
asking for information on it, he's not asking for us
Right.
to change anything.
And that doesn't go through the board. So things might not have gone 100% the way they should have gone. Questions that Scott has goes through the town engineer. So the town engineer is to give an answer as to the other things that you wanted to inquire about.
But if he's,
And that's how it goes. It doesn't come before the planning board.
but
If it does and it's substantial, then it comes before the planning board.
if he's asking to have a clarification or something, and we do it in every meeting, every board I'm on quite a few of them in this town, that you can add to the agenda to get information from the board,
yeah, this,
and that is totally legal.
I'd just like to read the letter from what I read, was that, this is, Penny signed it? Yeah, she's a member of the LLC. Yeah. It says that he had it says consulting engineer, and it talks about gravel. And the culvert, but that's it. I don't think he's talking about adding to the subdivision approval or anything like that.
The thing about it is my eyes, a change to the subdivision would be to move a lot line or do something of this nature.
Right.
This is just the mechanics of, I want the board to realize that there was a bust in the engineering that we now have found, and we're always told to bring it to the, Jessica, why are you shaking your head?
Like,
No.
just Virgil.
Because we're in the discussion, it has to get.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it sounds like it's not, it's just like a clarification, is that?
So I've discussed these things. In the gravel situation, we already talked to the town engineer, and he said.
That's behind us.
That's
That's behind
DOT
us.
allows changes, so that's fine. You're removing a culvert, so if that was approved in the subdivision, in your subdivision approval, and you're talking about removing that, that includes, you know, what are the changes, what can occur with removing the culvert? What are the changes?
Wait right there. You go over to the car wash and see what they changed our
Okay,
whole
but we're
print.
not talking about the car wash, and we really shouldn't
No,
be
we
talking about this right now, because we didn't change.
Right, I'm just trying to determine.
Well, the agenda is,
Whether this could be on the agenda or not, that's all.
Right.
That's all I
and
asked.
we already discussed with the town engineer, and he
And-
agreed that this is, the removing of a culvert is a discussion with the town engineer before it comes to the planning board.
No, anybody has the right to come in front of the board.
How about if we just agree to discuss it?
Right.
When it comes to,
Yeah, I don't think I mind discussing it, maybe for my own clarification.
Can't vote on it.
And then, you know, because it is on the agenda. But I don't think we can get into saying we're going to try to approve what he's asking.
not asking for that.
Right.
But if it's for clarification, I don't mind doing that.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So from my point of view, just to hear it, but make no decisions, because we can't.
That was the point.
Right.
That can't be any decisions made.
Okay.
Asking for a decision.
Scott, if I could say something, just one thing, I think I have to defend Jessica on one thing. That is, if another applicant from outside wanted to come in, they wouldn't be able to add something at a late day. That's the only point it's necessary. I don't see a problem with what you're asking, but somebody else couldn't do it, but because you're here and inside, you're able to.
Tom, these were brought to the board in a timely manner to get on the agenda.
Yeah, it didn't just come in, Tom.
Okay,
It
okay.
looked- Yeah, I think it was properly noticed that it's on here, so I don't mind talking about it, so where are we? I think we're saying the agenda is
Do we
fine as
have
it
a
is.
second? Do we have a second on the agenda?
I will second it. Scott Williams, second.
Now you're added on.
I think I'm at it.
He's already.
It's already on there.
Oh,
But it's only to talk about the engineer. And I just would like to
Well, we'll,
alert the board to what the conditions we found, so you would know it, so when you hear the information from North Point, you'll understand it.
Let's wait for that time to come.
Yep, no problem with that.
all right.
right, so now we go.
The vote on the agenda.
Oh,
Okay, vote on the agenda. Tom?
Aye on the agenda.
Virgil, yes.
Roger, yes.
Scott, yes.
Russ, yes.
Bob? Yes. Okay, first, next item on the agenda is a public hearing for the capital improvement program for 2021 to 2026. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to consider the CIP plan of 2021 as proposed by the CIP committee to be held in the town of Alton at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, October 20, 2020 at the planning board meeting. Copies of the plan of 2021 will be available at the hearing on the town's website at www.alton.nh.gov or can be picked up in draft form at the Town Hall Planning Department during regular business hours. Okay. At this point, representatives of the CIP committee can come forward. I'm not sure who else here.
Frank Rich is here.
Frank?
Bob, I think, I'd like to thank Jessica and Amelia for doing a great job with the computer and being able to change this around and make it so much easier for us this year.
Yeah.
You're talking about the spreadsheet?
The spreadsheet, yeah, nice job.
Yeah.
You have a,
Good color,
you have a
too.
less boisterous chair this year, I guess.
Well, they made it a lot easier on us and they did a great job for us.
So can we just check and see if, Amy Taravecchia, she's one of the other CIP members, if she's on remote? Maybe Amy, if you can raise your hand.
On the screen, raise your hand.
Hi, Amy, are you on?
I am on.
Hi, welcome aboard.
Thank
I did speak to Pat earlier, but he might be, hung up with some things at work. Pat O'Brien, he was a member.
I see
Or-
Pat is almost there. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Maybe he can just join in.
Bob sees Pat almost here.
Yeah.
He must have a special camera.
Got good eyes.
Looks like he's driving right now.
How can you tell?
Hey,
I am remote.
Frank, if you want to give us a summary of what you guys came up with this year.
Certainly. Good evening to the planning board from the CIP board. I'm Frank Rich, chairman of the board, and with 5 other members, Virgil McDonald, Roger Sample, Amy Taravecchia, and
Pat O'Brien.
Patrick O'Brien.
Pat O'Brien, who was the co-chair. The board met 3 times over the course of the last 2 months. We were assisted by Jessica Paul and Amelia Kate, who did an outstanding job of correlating and putting together what you have in front of you in terms of the sheets that are in front of you that I will speak about in just a few minutes. The CIP committee was and has been charged with prioritizing and recommending capital improvements to the town's department heads for the current and the future needs of the town. This includes buildings, roads, bridges, other infrastructures like water and sewer, vehicles, equipment, and large renovations. The goal of the CIP committee is to listening to the town department heads' needs and assess the urgency of those needs while trying to stabilize and maintain a consistent tax rate impact on the town's residents so as to not to overburden them with surprises and large increases of taxes. Over the last 4 years, this committee believes it has accomplished this goal to the best of our ability and for the benefit of the town. We believe if the CIP committee continues each and every year going forward, the likelihood of unexpected tax increases will not occur. In front of you are 2 spreadsheets to discuss tonight. First one is a 1-page, easy, simple to read, consolidated summary spreadsheet of all of the town department's capital cost requests and needs for the next 6 years, starting in 2021 and ending in 2026.
Excuse me, Frank?
Yes.
If we can have Josh pull up that summary sheet on the screen,
Sure.
if I can interrupt you for a minute.
Could you do that, Josh? Okay. That would be great.
Yeah, we all see a lot.
While we're waiting for that, it's really great to see the schools participate with you,
Well,
which they didn't.
Scott, they did the year before, and the year before that, but this year they had no particular needs other than what they already had going on, so, I think we were grateful that they didn't have any particular urgent needs, and we moved on with that. Had they had needs, we would have certainly considered them, and but the schools were not the only ones that didn't come to, as department heads. The police department didn't come.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's why they're not on here, okay.
Well, they're in the second report, but there are no immediate new needs.
Okay.
Okay, so we met with the department heads that had needs that were not on last year's and the year before.
Yeah, but the needs spread out 6 or 7 years, and so I would imagine those departments will have needs sometime within that time frame.
They may or they may not, okay, because I'll tell you, that's what, this CIP plan is always in flux,
Oh, absolutely.
okay, always.
Yeah, I've been on the committee, so I understand it.
And you understand that, so, but it's a guide, that's
Yep,
all it is.
it's nothing cast in stone.
Nothing is cast in.
It's not, and it's not a budget until it's voted on to be a budget.
Trying to protect the taxpayers' tax impact.
And you did a great job in the yellow down at the bottom.
Thank you. The committee works hard at looking at the bottom line. And if you look, and I'll go on to that in just a second.
Yep.
Okay. So, and my predecessor chairman, Bob,
Yep.
okay, was instrumental in helping us to work on a plan that is consistent and continues on. And that's why I'm hoping that the town and the town fathers, the selectmen, continue to keep the CIP board moving in every year so that we can continue to look forward and see what the needs are going to be and not get surprises.
It needs to be supported. It needs to be supported because it hasn't been over the years. And, that's the reason I got off the board when I did, because you did a lot of work and it just gets put to the side and that was the end of it. And that's very frustrating.
It appears that over the last 4 years, there's been a change of heart in terms of how instrumental and how good this kind of system works.
Great.
Okay, for the future of the town, so that we have visibility of what's in front of us. Now, there are some things that Bob mentioned last time that I want to address, but I want to address that at the, and
I'll say this, if we didn't have CIP,
I'm getting
we
your
would
plate.
have been down that township this year with trucks blowing up and everything else.
Right.
I'm gonna want you guys, when you put one of the cushions on the floor, I'm gonna want you guys to sit on the floor.
Mute yourself when you're talking to the kids.
Okay, so it's a one-page, easy-to-read, consolidated summary of spreadsheet, all of which, okay, the departments and capital cost requests needs for the next 6 years. Okay, starting in 2021 and ending in 2026, that the committee recommends to this board. This report also shows the tax impact of the town and the school capital projects as it appears for the next 6 years based on nothing changing, okay? On the valuation of $1,000 per assessment.
So the total valuation of the town doesn't change, is that what you're saying?
What is
the total valuation of the town doesn't change?
This is what it would be, okay.
This is what it would be if it were not to change.
Yeah.
Okay? You will note that the committee was very mindful of keeping the tax impact stabilized and consistent over the next 6 years, below $1 per thousand. You will also note there is a significant decline in expenditures starting in 2024 through 2026. Will that happen? Next year may change it, the year later may change it, but it gives us some breathing room to look at a lot of things going forward. The second spreadsheet is a 7-page spreadsheet, a more detailed spreadsheet of the town's department capital costs, line item by line item, by town departments, so that you get an idea of what they're looking for. This was last year's thing, and all we've done is updated it, and then taken what was asked of us and started to work within those asks, okay, and put that into 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26, along with a very few items in 21. These, as I said before, these spreadsheets can and will be updated every year with the new CIP committees, along with the administrative group, of which has done a super job consolidating this work, so that there is a continuing moratorium of continuing monitoring of the capital cost needs and their continued flexibility to adjust to priorities. So, if there's any questions.
So just a form of function.
Sure.
This is set up now, so that really all you have to do is change the sheets in the back, and it floats up to the front?
We work on the sheets in the back. We each year will sit with the department heads. They'll come in if they have issues or concerns or needs, and they'll make their case. We'll listen, we'll ask a lot of questions, which we did ask a lot of questions. And then the board's, the committee, I'm sorry, not the board, but the committee looks at that and says, okay, this is their needs, this is what it looks like. How can we accommodate those needs? And at the same time, if they're needed, at the same time, try to stabilize the tax impact on the town.
So you kind of like see if you can spread it out or whatever in order to try to stay under $1,000.
And that's what we did this year.
Okay.
We took a few items. We didn't take anything away from anyone. We just put it in different years.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was very slight, because we wanted to stay in the first 3 years under $1,000.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, which we just barely made, okay? Now, things can change, okay? Fire department may not need everything that they've requested, and they can maybe push out, I'm just using it as an example, push out a truck for a certain year or whatnot. Where we're in great shape right now is in the highway department, okay? We're in very, very good shape. So what you're gonna see is that, and you can see it here in terms of equipment, what's in good shape is that we're in pretty darn good shape equipment-wise today. Will we be 5 or 6 years from now? We don't know, but we're gonna be monitoring that, and we're gonna be reducing and you'll see it, we're reducing the capital requirements of the reserve, but not to the point where if something of an emergency came up, we couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this is just an outline. The department head, when it comes time, they're gonna plead their case to the Board of Selectmen whether they need it or not. So there's a safety there.
this is again, just
It's a planning,
to do a concentrated plan and reserve certain dollars in certain areas, okay, where we can do it and not get surprises, like all of a sudden we got a $300,000 hit, whether it be the highway department, the police department, the fire department, or the school. You know, we can adjust and prioritize on a year-to-year basis based on the best information that we've gotten from our department heads. Hopefully, they've done their homework and said, you know, but things can happen, things can change, so we want to have that flexibility to be able to maneuver. Okay?
so I just note that, under the highway road construction capital reserve fund, it's flat 950,000 out to 2026. We did get a lot of stuff done over the last few years. Kenny did a good job. It's possible that you may want to keep that number up because the work that's been done now is going to has to be repaired later on anyway, or something like
That's
that.
right. And Russ, that's an area that we looked at very carefully, okay, and said, you know, we're doing so well with that, quote unquote, $1 million, okay, in terms of managing, you know,
Mileage.
doing highway roads to the tune of 3 or 4 miles for $1 million, which is unheard of, okay? You know, and Ken Roberts has done an excellent job of managing that.
I'd just like to make mention of the fact that I think Kenny's planning to retire next spring.
April 9th.
Right. And hopefully.
Just for the record, his participation in the CIP process during the time that I was on the committee is much appreciated. And hopefully he won't be missed too much.
Well, I think he's gonna be missed a lot, but, you know, it's just like anything else. We're gonna have to suck it up and
Make sure you have
and
good
hope
ones.
for the best. But again, what the committee thought was in the best interest of the town is to continue what's going on, because we have a lot of roads and we have a lot of infrastructure. And to, you know, to not have a stabilized plan, okay, of fixing, repairing roads that, you know, can get deteriorated relatively quickly, you know, is a mistake.
Yeah, since Kenny started doing these, this is the only reason that we have roads that are starting to get better, because for generations before that, they just ignored it, and we had what we had.
We done a great job.
So we don't want to ignore it. We need to acknowledge the fact that we have roads. We have citizens that want those roads to be in reasonably good order, okay? And if we can do 3 or 4 miles per year and really do a stand-up job that Ken has shown us the
But
way.
that's, he really doesn't reconstruct the road. I just don't want anybody to feel that he does.
Recondition.
He reconditions them, he takes the rocks out that he sees and things like that, but he doesn't dig them down to 4 feet or so to put in a good road bed
Well,
anymore.
that's what road they were on. When they did the Marlene Drive, they went down, they had to go to 3 feet.
Yeah,
Did they?
Yeah.
It was probably on top of loam, wasn't it?
No, it was all logs. Trees and logs up through there, so some of the roads, if they run into it, they do dig them out.
Good.
And,
Good.
and it's $1.2 million a mile.
I think
Road to have somebody come in, we're getting
saving-
5 miles
Right.
for the million.
they're self-engineering it as they go along, they kind of know it.
That's another one, depends what road they're on, like Roberts Cove, we sent out for engineering,
But sometimes, yeah,
you know, so it depends what road they're on, but they've done a great job for us.
To build a new road today, based on state and town specs, is $1.2 million per mile,
yeah. No, I know.
okay? We're getting 3 or 4 miles reconditioned, as you may say, but I think, I'll give an example. We're doing Roberts Cove right now, and I live off of Roberts Cove. He's taken out boulders that have been there for God knows centuries.
14,000 years.
Okay, you know, they've been there, and I've hit every goddamn one. Excuse my language. But along with that, he's done some great swale work, he's done culverts, he's moving the water properly, we're cutting down trees, you know, trees that should have been cut down a long time ago. He's doing a stand-up job on a road that really needs it, and 10 years ago, we resurfaced that road.
And it services a hell of a tax base.
It doesn't, great tax base, there's no question about it. But we resurfaced that about 10 years ago, and I hate to tell you what it looks like today.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
it's nothing,
it just wasn't done appropriately.
yeah, you paint over
So,
bad stuff.
I'm hoping that this reconditioning, which is more than what, it's less than what a new road would be, but boy, a whole lot
Yes.
better than it's ever been.
So
Years when they're done, but we're lucky to have the crew we got down at that town bar.
I have one question about on the fire department, on their buildings. They've got a 384,000 in the, reserve fund, but I would think those things are really expensive, and at some point,
The building,
yeah, all of them, all that stuff is
Okay.
expensive.
Did you see over here, is, Central Station, 3.2 million?
Right,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, no, but it isn't scheduled
so,
to save any money for it, that's the
Well,
only.
that would be a bond issue.
and that's something that I do want to address at the end, Russ.
Okay,
Okay, because it was addressed last year with Bob. We want to continue to address. These are the equipment, renovations, infrastructure with the highway, but it does not include anything for what I'm going to call reserves for buildings, new buildings.
or new building, okay.
Okay, it does call for renovations and things of that, but for new buildings, infrastructure like sewer and water, and I might as well mention this now. But the caveat is, this is a great CIP plan based on the information that we're providing. What it doesn't provide is anything for new future buildings.
Okay,
For instance, a fire station, a police station, a safety complex with a fire station and police station and highway department, a highway building. It doesn't include any of those things. The caveat is, this is a good plan for what it's got, but we have not tackled any of those issues.
really big things, yeah.
And the reason we haven't is we really need from the Board of Selectmen to support a master plan so that we can look at the new master plan and the CIP can then look at that and say, okay, this is what this new master plan is suggesting that we look for the next 10 or 20 years.
I think we're doing it for the next 10, so I'm on the master plan committee, so.
Whatever it might be. but it's always 10, and then it's, you know, whatever else you can get through it, but let's say for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Then the CIP board can say, the master plan said this, and this. We have to give those considerations. Should we start reserving for those?
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
And how do we reserve for those? How do we go out for that money? Do we bond it? Do we go to private development and say, we'll lease a building? All sorts of things that could come about. But this is what it is, okay? And it does not include any real big building capitalizations within the town at this time.
All right.
Someone should identify those, so, for the near future, so they can be put into some type of plan. So, not this one, but, you know, say, you know, town hall, does it need more?
Well, we're gonna be
more space?
working on the master plan through next year.
That really should be in the master plan.
So we'll make sure that stuff gets in there, and then it gets coupled with this.
Right.
And in fact, I was thinking that in the development of the master plan, we use the listing that's in here as part of it, you know, so it's married together.
Right,
Okay.
but there's no
The,
question.
Frank, there'll be all kinds of opportunities for you and your committee members to participate in the master planning process. And we look
Just
forward.
And Bob, we welcome that, and we look forward to it because, you know, it's our town, all of us together, and we really need to think about buildings, infrastructure, sewer, water, the business climate, you know, the entire package. Okay, because, you know, as we can see, things are changing in this world, and Alton is a very special place.
Well, thank you.
More questions?
Okay.
No, I think you did a great job.
Good job.
Thank you.
I think it might be time for us to invite any questions from the public.
Can we do that? Is anybody out there?
Anybody zooming?
Zooming. Go get caught for speeding.
I want to see the $350,000 fireboat, though.
Do you have anybody else?
That was a good discussion.
It will fit in the list.
That boat's gonna last a long time.
So Bob,
Yep.
there's no one in the queue to,
Okay.
contribute for public input.
Okay, at this point, we'll close the public hearing and any deliberations on the part of the board.
Before you do that, Bob, Amy, do you have anything that you would like to say?
I do not.
That's a shame because you're such an elegant speaker.
Especially when I'm speaking to my kids, I'm sure.
That's okay, Amy. You'll have plenty to say tomorrow night. You're at the top of the agenda for the Rotary meeting.
Oh, wonderful.
Board members have any other comments to make about the CIP plan?
I have one question, Bob. That is, at what point do we vote to adopt it?
Right now.
Well, that's actually next.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve the Capital Improvement Committee program as presented.
Second.
Okay.
Scott Williams made the motion.
I'd like to maybe,
Motion, Virgil McDonald was second.
just comment, say, we could submit the CIP plan of 2021 as presented, because we didn't amend it, to the Board of Selectmen and Budget Committee as the CIP committee's recommendations for 2021. That's,
All right,
Do you like that language better? I'm good with it.
All right,
Okay,
Russ Wild, motion, and Virgil McDonald second.
Okay, vote of the board.
Tom Hoops, yes.
Virgil McDonald, yes?
Roger Sample, aye.
Scott Williams, yes.
Russ Wilder, yes?
Bob Regan, yes.
Thank you.
Nice job.
I want to say thank you to the CIP committee.
Bob, Jessica's got a question too.
So I just wanted to share some information with the board. I did with the CIP committee that over the summertime, I got a phone call from, the Kingswood High School, the FAU up in Wolfboro,
Yeah.
to get our model, because they wanted to use it for themselves.
How'd they find it?
Must have been online.
Huh.
So I
Doing
just wanted
something
to
right.
share that with you guys,
Good.
that, you know, we have other towns looking at our work, and they were really,
That's a big form of
I
compliment.
sent that right over.
They asked for CIP and we asked for who did their master plan.
Yep, Sharon Cheryl Lake.
It's always good when people steal your work like that, because you know it's good.
Sounds like a fair trade to me.
I mean, if we didn't have CIP this year, we would have been out of a lot of trucks down the town bar.
Really.
Oh, yeah.
If I could reiterate, Jessica and Amelia have done an incredible job of keeping us focused, and these spreadsheets would not be what they are if it was not for Jessica's hard work.
Thank you.
They made it so easy to change the numbers around, automatically down, and it just.
Excel is great.
Worked really well.
And as much as I love Ken Roberts, at least now I have an idea of what the hell he wanted. Okay. But thank you, guys. Okay. Does anybody need me for anything else?
No, you gotta stay and enjoy us.
You can go home. I can go home.
Go home.
Can I call you tomorrow?
Yeah, give me a buzz.
Okay,
Yep, thank you for
See you,
your.
Frank. Take care.
thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy, for doing a great job.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that for a while.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Yep, have a
Okay.
good night.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
that one's.
moving forward, I think.
Yeah.
Calling case number P20-13. Kevin M. Nash, LLS of White Mountain Surveying Engineering Incorporated, agent for Jeffrey.
See you later.
Agent for Jeffrey P. and Lauren M. Mitza, David G. and Darcy J. DeLeo, and Stephen D. and Joanne M. Anderson, owners, map 40, lot 7, 10, 11, and 12, Wentworth Way and Peggy Cove Road, lot line adjustment. Do we have the participants?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Kevin.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Kevin Ash, White Mountain Survey and Engineering. I've been a land surveyor for 19 years, been working in the field for a lot longer than that. But so I'm here on, as you said, on behalf of Mitzas and Anderson and David and Darcy DeLeo. And the intent, their intent was to have the boundary lines adjusted for these three small lots.
That's
The application.
Three small lots on Wentworth Way. And the configuration of these lots was really kind of complex, and it didn't match up with the way the land was used by the three landowners over the years. So they came to us looking for a boundary line adjustment to see if we could represent them in front of you guys to get a boundary line adjustment approved, so that the lines would be more in conformance with the way they use their property.
We'll get into the detail in a couple of minutes. I think, Jessica, if you could take us through the planner review a little bit.
Completeness.
Right, we gotta go over.
Waivers first.
So we're gonna, Bob, we're gonna go over the waivers first.
And Kevin, when you speak, can you stop moving? Because you're coming through all mumbled over here.
I will try to do that.
Okay,
So the
there are four waivers. First one, VII.F.7.G, which requires the showing of all jurisdictional wetlands. Section B7F7H, which requires the showing of all areas with slopes in excess of 25 degrees. Section 7F7I, which requires showing of minimum contiguous upland area. And section 7F7 which requires the plan to be a scale of 1 inch to 100 feet and a sheet size of 22 by 34. Waiver of any requirement shall not be construed as a waiver in full or in part of any other requirement, nor shall such waiver constitute a waiver of requirements on any other such proposal. Basis of any.
Hey, Bob, Russ has a comment.
So just looking at the, we have two suggested languages on page 2 of whether to approve the waivers. The second one, which is the one I would like to use, does not, well, no, under the second for granting waivers should follow the suggested language for granting the waivers. There's no VF, 7F7, which, and I read his request. He said he tried to do the scale of the mapping in such a way that is required by that, by that provision. And he was saying it was very difficult to do. He said he struggled to get it done to show it correctly.
Yes.
So what I would like to go ahead, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with these waivers, but I think that the, if we do the motion, the second B, motions for granting waivers, it's got to include VF7 and then G and then H and then I.
In that order.
In that order, because you have 7F7G, comma, H, comma, I, comma, and I think you need VF7, comma, VF7G, H, and I,
I agree.
Okay? Yep. So maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, but I don't see there's anything wrong myself with what they're asking for.
I go along with you, Russ. I don't have a problem with any of them.
So if anybody hasn't got anything else, I'll say, I move to grant the waiver requested to section 7F7, comma, 7F7G, comma, H, comma, and I, comma, of the subdivision regulations, as the board has determined that strict conformity with the requirement would pose an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and the waiver will not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations.
Scott Williams, second.
Okay, do we take a vote on that at this point?
Yes.
Okay,
And for the record, that was Russ Wilder that made that motion.
Tom Hoops, I vote aye.
Roger McDonald, yes.
Roger, aye.
Aye, Scott Williams.
Russ Wilder, aye.
Bob Regan, aye.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the application as complete.
Scott Williams, second.
Tom?
Tom Hoops votes aye.
Roger McDonald, yes.
Roger, aye.
Scott Williams, aye.
Russ
Bob
Wilder,
Regan.
aye.
Bob?
Bob Regan, aye.
There you go.
Alderson.
I must have spoken at the same time as someone else. Okay, next item is discussion of the plan review, I guess. Is that right?
Okay. Yes. So I did not have any issues with the plan at all. Everything seems to be in place. All of the documents, according to the checklist, were provided, except for the sample deeds, but that's usually gets put on a conditions precedent. I think the plan was done very well. It's extremely detailed, and they provided a colored copy, and I highlighted the bigger plans for you guys so that you can see it a little better.
So what's in orange is going to go with orange.
Right.
Did all the coloring before nap class?
And what's in pink stays pink,
Yep.
and the green one is green. Okay.
So Kevin, on the plans that they're looking at, the pink is your purple on the plan that you sent me, just so you know.
Yep.
All the other colors are the same. I didn't have purple.
So the big thing is they're getting this isolated garage out of the green property and putting it with the orange property.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the major driving force behind it. Because for years that had been owned and occupied by the owner of lot 40-7, the Anderson lot, shore lot. And it was completely surrounded by Mitz's lot, almost completely surrounded by Mitz's lot. So they want to now have that garage be used by Mitzvah, and Anderson will still be able to access the lot on that travel right of way, which is just south of the garage. And they also own the lot, the shore lot directly to the north of their other shore lot. So they can access the property from there as well.
These people here from Wyndham,
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Pickens Cove subdivision is a challenge.
Yeah.
That's courageous.
These orange, these lines are coming out, right? This is going right to you. The orange is coming out.
This will become part of this property,
Right. So this,
and it's all contiguous.
so this is gonna come down and jar over.
No, it goes,
So that little triangle piece is gonna be included into 40-11.
it's a 40-.
Yep.
40-7.
40-12 and 40-11 go together.
Kevin, what lot is lot 12 gonna be merged
It's going to
into?
be part of 40-11,
Okay.
the Mitzvah lot.
40-11.
That makes sense, and then this part of their property,
Even though it's orange, it's gonna be part
And
of.
this stays with this.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm seeing? No, this will all, this goes to this and this will.
Isn't most?
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Right now, this.
Yep.
and I think,
So basically, this comes this way,
and then this little piece.
goes to the pink.
Yeah.
So this is a double whammy.
Yeah, they're just trying to straighten it.
There's a lot of changes.
This and this go together, and this go together. Because right now, this goes.
So,
111's making out
so
well.
I got a question. When they're done with all this, are they gonna set monuments in all the corners?
They should.
This line's gonna come down.
Yes, on the plan, I've marked the corners we're going to set with the TBS for to be set. So it's
Okay.
basically around the lines that are being adjusted, we're going to monument.
Yeah, 2BA.
TBS,
Okay.
TBS.
Maybe that's what this means, goes away.
Great, we do have, Russ, we do have that, that's the condition precedent number.
Right, that's what I was trying to, I'm leading into that.
So
Okay.
this line is being
Right
abandoned.
now, we gotta figure it out.
It's a lot, that was a
We went
lot
through
to
the same
take
thing
in.
at conservation with it, what goes where and how it goes.
Yep. Yeah, it's quite a change. So, I mean, in my opinion, the changes that are being made
Better.
are gonna, make things less non-conforming.
Yeah,
So, and
Less
and
confusing.
less jagged angles and funky lots like that garage lot.
yeah, I think it straightens out a nightmare down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does,
And the color code is good, by the way.
and
So,
lots 10 and 11 will stay the same as far as area goes. And lot 7, the shore lot, will actually get a little bigger with the addition of area B and area C. So we're definitely making them a little less non-conforming.
like this and this is equal.
When you first saw this, did it look like a nightmare?
Yeah, when I tried to recreate those lots based on that 1960 subdivision plan, yes, it was kind of a nightmare.
Who did the original subdivision?
Somebody would
Oh,
be-
it was a long time ago. I've referenced it on my plan. It was, I think it was, H.P. Douglas.
No, never heard of that.
Yeah. It's in Plan Book 8, so he can tell you it was a long time ago. 1953 actually was the first survey, and then 66 was the subdivision.
Not up there.
All right, so I just wanted to add a couple things
Yep.
as far as the review goes. I did not get any concerns or anything from the department heads. So they were good.
I think the Conservation Commission saw it, and I don't think it's listed on here that we didn't have any concern.
No, because that came after, but you didn't have any concerns, so I didn't add it. If you had concerns, I would have added it. I didn't receive any comments or anything from abutters. So that's fine. And like I said, sample deeds can just be submitted later on. There was a mortgage holder letter that was submitted by the Andersons, regarding, partial release. So they're aware of the changes occurring.
You know, just a point of reference, it's not that it means this, other communities, if you have a mortgage on the property, you do anything planning wise, the lender is usually, they want listed on the list of abutters, shall we say. So when the bank will know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thought.
Yeah, right, to kind of change things up a bit instead of the other way around. Okay. Other than that, I didn't have any concerns or questions on anything. Pretty straightforward.
So is there any members of the public that, out there?
Just me.
Public?
Nobody? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to let this, I'll read it. Let this Alton Planning Board notice of decision serve as written notification for the above referenced project, which is case P20-13, as follows. After due hearing, the Alton Planning Board hereby approves case P20-13 for Jeffrey P. and Laura M. Mesa, Stephen D. and Joanne Anderson, and David G. Darcy, J. DeLeo for the above cited lot line adjustment of maps 40, lots 7, 10, 11, and 12, with frontage on Peggy's Cove Road and Wentworth Way with the conditions precedent and subsequent as listed on the case documentation. And one of the things that's in precedent is setting the bounds, which will probably be the most important thing, know what's what after you're done with it.
Scott Williams will second that motion.
Tom
Okay.
votes aye.
Well, we gotta have public input first, Tom.
No, we did.
There wasn't any.
Okay, fine.
Yes, somebody called for it.
All
Is
those in
there
favor,
anybody
I
in
guess?
queue?
Scott Williams, aye.
Russ
Roger,
Wilder,
aye.
Russ Wilder, aye.
Donald, aye.
Bob Regan, aye.
Tom votes aye.
Okay,
Done.
That's the contact number, and that's all we need to.
Yep.
Okay, I think that does it for this case.
Somebody hang up.
I think we're good.
Okay, next item on the agenda is, old business. Observation and,
Can we just back up for a second?
Yep.
So, number 3 on the agenda, case P 20-14.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that that's just continued till next month.
Oh, that's the one that's in here that says continue.
right,
Yep. So, all right, so that just needed to be on the record.
Sorry about that, I got ahead of you.
That's okay.
Okay,
Uh,
so what's with case P15 and case P16?
We'll get to that.
they're listed in,
Where are they?
they're in the
Okay.
back, under new business. No, under correspondence, number 4.
All right, so under that old business, the updating the construction observation guidelines, site plan regulations, subdivision regulations, that's just been on the agenda just because that needs to be changed, and I don't want it to just go away. So,
Do we have any, do we want to try to schedule at least either a workshop or something just to get them done, or?
what I would like to do is, I would like to, so potentially, we're gonna present Zach at the next meeting. If that happens, then let's start up some sort of other committees. I have like a ton of committees right now.
Tis the season.
So after we do Zach, and we present Zach to the planning board, I would like to start up.
Okay, so for master plan, we need to get the RFPs out.
So basically December the first.
Yeah, it'll be, okay.
So if we
Gonna
can.
try to catch up.
Yeah, if we can finish, we just finished CIP, let's finish Zach, and yes, I would like to start up a committee for that.
Makes sense.
Really helpful.
You're just like one night home.
Okay.
Oh, she wants to
Okay.
get home.
Okay, moving on to new business. Update from the Master Plan Committee. Last night, we visited the Board of Selectmen and, excuse me, gave them a summary of what we've done so far. And for the benefit of the other board members who are not part of that, I'll reiterate what we told the Board of Selectmen last night. We decided to meet every 3 weeks, at least for the time being. Our first meeting was October 7th. Next meeting is October 28th. We reviewed the purpose of the master plan, which is to align the town's vision, zoning ordinances, areas of focus and activities. Our mission is to organize, promote, and develop new updated plan to serve as a guide for the planning board, its committees, and the zoning board of adjustment. The plan should cover town goals for 10 years and be ready by January 2022, which is ambitious. A better schedule will be established once the consultant is on board. Consultant will identify master planning process, identify town demographics, and engage the community. $25,000 was authorized through a warrant article last March. RFP will be issued by the end of this calendar year. The committee is using 3 sample RFPs as reference: a small town, a rural town, and a tourist vacation community. And respectively, they are Goffstown, Enfield, and Wolfboro. Also, as a result of working from home, changes we are seeing, there will be likely changes in how the town develops going forward. A lot of that is due to change in the work model with many more people working from home rather than commuting to an office. The Master Plan Committee believes that it cannot succeed without full select board participation, and we requested that the Board of Selectmen have a member join the Master Planning Committee, and pleased to announce that Paula Rochelle will be filling that role. Also, we will have a member of the CBA and a member at large. Jessica, I didn't write down the name of the person from the ZBA board.
That would be Paul Monzioni.
Okay.
Good.
And in general, we're very pleased that the select board is pretty enthusiastic about supporting us. Russ or Tom, you got anything to add to that?
No, this is Russ. I thought the meeting last night with the selectmen went very well. They stated that they really did want to support the master plan, and I think we heard tonight with a good CIP in place, we can make sure that those two things talk to each other as we go forward. So
I think it's all gonna work in conjunction for any of them.
Big task,
oh yeah,
big task.
And they've set themselves on I think, a short deadline.
we'll
22.
In a year.
try to be aggressive. You know.
It's not an easy task, and a year ain't a lot of time, a few months.
It's a goal.
Yeah, good luck. You're ambitious.
The consultant, do you know what kind of participation you're gonna get from the consultant? Do they go through the process with you? They come in and get you started, send you on your way?
They would stay with you through the process. I think the big thing is to get their knowledge on how you get good quality participation. How do you set up
That's the key.
the committees? Like Wolfboro had like 70 people involved with it, but they had a lot of committees that worked on pieces of it. So, you know, they were just doing one section and getting it done.
You had 70 people in one room, you wouldn't get anywhere.
Right. But they had it broken up. If you look at the list over there, they were the movers and shakers in Wolfboro that jumped on it. So we need that kind of participation.
Okay, so my other question, a little while back there, we had all in for Alton.
All right, that will be used. That can be used.
Yeah, that will be incorporated.
Yeah.
All the information.
The other useful bit of information that's going to be available, our timing for doing this turns out being rather fortuitous because the census will be complete. And that information should be available to us during the year that we're working on the plan.
Yep. Okay.
So, and anything else on the master planning?
Just good luck.
As I said
Actually,
before,
it's called good work.
we'll take all the luck we can get.
On an uphill, you think you're on an uphill battle right now, but I'm praying that we get a lot of participation in it.
Well, again, that's the key thing that we're hoping that the consultant can help us with. One big difference between now and when the last plan was done in 2005 is that the social media explosion, for lack of a better term, has occurred, and how we can take advantage of that in an appropriate way. That's something that I hope that the consultant can provide us some guidance on.
Bob, has anybody looked at the last master plan to see if we followed any of it?
Yes, I've looked at it, and well, the major part of the old plan was land use, and the vision section, which would address various specific issues in the town, was kind of sparse.
It's supposed to be sparse.
And I think a lot of our focus will be less on, in my opinion, will be less on the land use stuff, and we can build off of what's already been done. But the other section, there's plenty of work to do to be done there.
But
So just a thought on my part.
one of your main focuses should be to get some commercial property set up and not down Main Street.
And that's a land use.
'Cause we'll end up losing all these buildings and losing our Main Street if we don't do it. I think that's the main focus on this.
Yeah, and the thing about it,
That's very much part of what needs to be addressed.
you have to be very careful with the vision portion of it, because if you tie yourself up too tight, you're tied into it.
Right.
And you've got to use it as an outline type of idea, so you can have some latitude as you move along through the years.
Right, but I mean, Scott, one of the things we have to do is include in it the concept of the cottage ideas or the tiny houses, so that it opens the way so we can do that.
Yep,
So
yep, but I'm just saying about tying the vision portion of it in so tight, because it's a legal document, so you've got to be careful with that.
Right, but the three of them.
One of the approaches that we can take are areas of focus, things to be studied and understood. For example, the public safety complex, that would be something to be addressed in the master plan, not as something to be done, but something to be understood.
Yep.
So there are ways to address the legality without putting ourselves in a corner, but at the same time, opening up the possibility of
Specialization would be
done.
probably a good point.
So anyway, I think we're off to a pretty good start. Within the next couple of meetings of the planning committee, of the master plan committee, we should be able to come back to the full board and give you a better idea of what we're up to.
We will check back in on a regular basis too.
Yep, that's what I was trying to say. Okay.
Moving
Next
on.
item,
All right, so Bob, I'll tackle this one for you.
thank you.
So tonight was supposed to be our first public hearing to update or amend the subdivision regulations, site plan regs, excavation regulations to remove that, the newspaper notice. We had voted, you guys had voted on that, you know, the month prior. And, so I consulted with the ZBA to see if they were on the same page, to see if they were also going to do the same. They opted to not make changes, so I'd like to keep things the same. So then I consulted with Jim Sessler to find out, is that going to be a conflict between, you know, the planning department having, you know, both boards, one's different, you know, one requires it, one not, and what are the potential, you know, legality issues that could arise from one board being different than the other. So we sat down, we talked about it, and one of the main things that he pointed out is right now with our electronic meetings, I mean, we're going above and beyond trying to get the word out to people on how to attend these meetings, you know, having the things listed on the website, having all these blurbs written on agendas ahead of time, and just really trying to get out there and reach and be engaged and have the community engaged in the meetings. And then here we are, on the other hand, suggesting to take away something that's a notice from the newspaper. So in my opinion, I suggest not making the changes and keeping it the same as the ZBA.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How much does it cost CBA and planning for advertising in the newspaper every year?
I would have to.
Doesn't cost them anything, the applicant has to
I
pay.
have to look at the,
Doesn't cost them anything.
Doesn't cost the board anything?
No.
no, because they pay it, it's the applicants that
Okay.
pay.
Okay.
Right. So I just wanted to point out that so the reason why I didn't make the changes ahead of time is because we have 3 sets of regulations that needed to be changed. We have 15 applications that go with those sets of regulations. And there would have been a change to the meeting schedule. So that's why I didn't change everything ahead of time. And I want to go through all of that work if you guys are going to change your mind.
So just to be clear, this is a law that was passed. It was a House Bill
Yep.
1120. And it says may be posted on the homepage of the town's action site. So it's not a requirement that,
It's not a shall.
it's not a shall.
Right. It's
So
not-
we could continue, like you're suggesting,
Yep,
as we are and be okay with that law.
correct.
Yeah, and it
Yeah, it's
keeps
an
all the
option.
boards the same.
And maybe we could shrink down the advertisement in the newspaper, you know, some way there if we want to just minimize it or something, you know?
Yeah. So,
But that, as far as I'm concerned, that's up your alley and I don't.
that was a lot of changes to make, though.
That's right, said Scarlett.
Space.
There, don't give it that.
Don't need it, don't do it.
So next up, I'm just gonna move along.
Yeah.
The approval of the minutes. We had some challenges with the recording and being able to transcribe them, so we'll have them for you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Things haven't been as easy with all these new changes.
Yeah.
Are you using Zoom to record it?
Yes.
So Zoom recording.
Yeah, because it gives if the speakers are identified, I think it tells who's speaking. It'll tell you.
It recognizes it.
Well, yeah, right, especially if you're calling in with your computer from home.
Right.
It'll identify you, it'll say, whatever you put in there is your names, and when you speak, it'll give it to you.
Moving on, Bob.
Okay, next item, approval of minutes of the planning board meeting of September 15th.
Now, we're moving past that one, Bob.
Did you go to the bathroom, Bob?
I was just having a nap.
Next up.
Next
We're
item, minutes approval.
No, 4A. We already did it, they don't have them, so we can't approve them.
Okay. Next case, under correspondence for the board's review, case P 20-15, voluntary merger of pre-existing lots for map 15, lots 1514, 1515, and 1516, 1517, 1518, and 1519, Evans Hill Road, Mark R. Jr. and Megan Farrell owners. And Jessica, you want to give the quick summary that you gave me before?
Yeah, let's see if, either Mark or Megan are on the line first
Yeah,
before we go.
we're both here.
Oh, super. Hi. Can you just introduce yourselves, please?
Yep, Megan Farrell and my husband, Mark Farrell Jr.
Mark Farrell.
Mark, you gotta get in a little closer, buddy, we only see one eye.
So Megan and Mark, they came into the office and they submitted an application for a voluntary lot merger of all of the lots on Evans Hill Road. So they purchased them all and they want to merge them all together. So with numerous conversations throughout the whole summer, we've been kind of working with a few different people and with Jim Sessler. So the outcome of the merging all the lots together by one owner is now going to make Evans Hill Road sort of go away, and they would now have a Herd Hill Road address.
But that becomes a driveway.
So that road, right, so now they have a glorified driveway.
Do they own that cistern that's right there?
That was one of our questions.
Excuse me?
That was gonna be one of our questions tonight, because I think you guys have some stuff at the end of the
Well,
road.
I think the map will tell us that, won't it?
Well, it's in the confines of the subdivision.
Right. And they own it.
But I don't know, well, I see the gate across the road when I went to my social event at the dump.
Can you pull up the?
And the gate is after the cistern.
15.
Well, this
Yeah,
drawing,
we weren't sure where to put that. We just wanted to make sure that if you guys needed access to it, but we were trying to keep people out of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that cistern it's designed to be a regional thing, not only support that subdivision, but it could support the transfer station properties and the adjacent properties around it, right?
Subdivision, everything.
Because that's a 10,000 gallon cistern in there, which the town fire department has no money to maintain in their budget.
Well, they've been out there maintaining them.
Good.
They're doing good about it. I've been asking.
Now it's a new swimming pool.
Well, I think,
It's a cement pond.
well, I think that the town, the fire department should still keep access to it.
I would agree. Then they would need an easement.
It's a great help up in there.
Yeah, well, then, I don't know if they do need an easement, because the town has martial law. If they need water, they can go get it. If they need your swimming pool water, they can take your swimming pool water.
so just to be clear, that we believe that the fire department is maintaining the cistern located on lot 15-6.
I don't know if they're maintaining that one. I know they've been doing Prospect and 28, and they've been going around checking them and maintaining them.
Quite a few of them.
They've been putting a list together and they're cleaning the brush out around them and.
And every one of the cisterns, now has a 911 address.
When,
I mean,
before we bought the property, it had not been maintained, and then recently afterwards, it looked like somebody had gone in and cleaned out the brush and the massive hornet's nest out of the vent.
As they find them on their list and they find them, they've been going in and maintaining them.
Yeah, because I was pretty overgrown the last time
Yeah.
I looked at it, and that was months ago.
Yeah.
so they're buying all the undeveloped lots off of Evans Hill Road, which includes one that has a cistern on it.
Correct.
So you have an entrance down below, it gets rid of a whole nightmare. Of
Right.
fixing that Evans Road and putting the guardrails in and.
Absolutely.
Right, but I'm just saying is that there seems to be, what obligations do they have? Do they own that cistern, or does the town own the cistern?
Well, that's what I'm saying to the
The
board.
developer
Town should
installed
have
it,
a right into it.
but the developer says here immediately, because they don't want any part of it.
Okay, so the party used part of the bond to fix the lower part. So I think the town should still have a right to that system, the cistern.
But I'm just saying, we don't have the answer to her question. as to what's the status of that system.
Ask Jim.
So
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have.
that's a legal
to find
question.
out.
That was a subdivision, and the bottom road was accepted, the top road ain't. So you're in a catch
So
22.
I think this is a good solution for the issue that we've had here. But, I think that we should probably, continue this until we can find out. The answer is, what's the status of that system? If it's like any other, subdivision, it's located on a property and the town has the right to access it and maintain it.
Then I have another question.
It would be, it would be some sort of easement.
Well, that was gonna be a town road, so the town would have had access to it, automatic.
Right.
But now they're buying the lots, that's becoming a driveway.
Right.
So,
Right,
I
exactly.
think it's gotta go to Jim, like Russ said, it's gotta go up to Jim to get the legality of it.
that should be clarified for their sake to
Yeah.
know what.
And we ought to clarify the rest of the bond that was saved for Evans Road. There's what, $11,000 to $12,000 in there.
It was
Should
about
go to that
6,000.
family.
It was about $6,000.
Or $6,000, it should go back to that family. Whether they use that as a driveway or not, that money was set aside because you used the
But that
rest of
was-
the bond down below. That should go back to them.
So we had parsed it out so that we had to separate it to the two pieces?
You separate, the board.
When we did that, but the bond's been separated like that? Was separated?
Yeah, we took, most of the bond we used for the pavement, fixing the road.
The
down
lowest
below.
ridge road.
And that was all done?
That's all done.
So there's $11,000 left?
There's $6,000 in
$6,000.
escrow account for construction observations for Evans Hill Road.
Okay, so
And
that won't be
I-
needed anymore?
I think you probably ought to get disposition of that from Sessler as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
Right,
that-
and I've
because
talked,
that family should
so
get
I've talked to
that.
Jim on that as well. So there are just some things that they need to button up on Ridge Road. They need to submit an as-built. So that money that's left over from Evans Hill.
Make
in the
it
construction
whittled down a
of it,
little bit.
they can use those funds, and there's a little bit left over from the paving of Ridge Road, which I think the two total about $11,000
Yeah.
with the two together. So, I already went over and talked to Jim Sessler about this, and he's okay with, the owners of Ridge Road to use the funds that are left over towards, coming in for final road approval, which includes, hiring a surveyor and producing the as-built.
It wouldn't be a final road approval because they're using it as a driveway.
No, this is Ridge Road,
Ridge
Ridge
Road.
Road.
Well, the funds from Evans Hill that are left over are gonna be used for Ridge Road. That was,
Well, but they may, if there's any
Time
remainder,
to fix Evans Road.
if there's any residual left over, then we need to know how that, what happens with
How to
that.
disperse it.
right, so from there,
So-
it potentially could go back to the person that submitted the $31,000 to begin with.
No.
It's likely that,
Well, it's not going back to that contractor that failed his bond.
No, it's not, no.
that was Nutter who built
Yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah, I know.
because that's not his money
But
anymore.
if- But these people have a right, where we use that bond all down below. They could force the town to fix that road and bring it to town specs and put the guardrails and everything else it needs.
Well, they're not gonna need that, so.
Well,
Because merging all the lots together, it negates that subdivision altogether.
all right, so my
I
question,
know, but I disagree with using any more of that bond money for that road down below, when it should be given to the people for Evans Road. We've split that, and everything left on that bond, instead of doing this full subdivision, this board split it and gave it all to the people down bottom, so the people that have Evans Road get screwed. And it shouldn't be that way. Any money left in there should go back to the Evans Road, like we said way back when we did this. It shouldn't be used for consultants or engineers or anything else. It should go right to Evans Road.
all right, so my question, did these people come here tonight for a lot line adjustment or to find out about the cistern or?
They came in for a lot merger.
Lot merger, it's a lot merger, but until we know the disposition of a couple of these things, I thought we should continue this case tonight till those things are clear, and then I wouldn't have any problem with approving it.
Yeah, but with that will be on, I mean, I'm sure Jim will come up with that cistern, since it'll be on private property, then it will need an easement. Because it was in the road right away, if we dissolve that whole subdivision, that whole easement is gone. And so, we need Jim to, tell us, we need an easement, This is a language it has to have.
It's in the deed, but I don't know what it means.
And who's, yeah, and I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah.
And who's gonna maintain it?
Right.
You know, because I don't think those people should maintain that thing at all if it's for the good of the community.
That's what it was originally put there.
That's what it was there for.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Okay, so I'll clarify that with Jim.
So I make a motion that we,
We have
Um,
no problem with you
well,
guys.
we have to have input from
Hang on,
them.
Russ. Russ, hang on, man. Go ahead.
I said, we don't have any problem with the town needing access to that. If we ever wanted to put in a gate, we'd keep it back. We assume that the fire department would want to get to that. But
Right.
the big thing for us is we really would like to get this merger approved and to also to get the bond taken off so that we can start building our house.
I would think that we would be able to get an answer to this and be able to meet, by the, what is it,
Well, we still should be able to approve the lot mergers.
subject to?
Subject to the language, that we'd have to do, make sure that we identify those issues, so they know it's gonna be handled, and then they can't stall us from doing those items.
Right, and they can get busy building.
Right, yeah, that sounds
So
fair.
they can't get busy building because there's a release, there's a release that you guys have to vote on, because there's a hold on building permits that you guys have to vote on.
Take the fun right out of it.
So, I know, sorry, so that needs to occur also in order for them to get their building permit.
But if that's one lot,
I didn't see
that cease on permits should probably go away, shouldn't it?
It needs to get recorded,
You have
because it's
to
on
vote
record.
it.
Okay, I didn't realize.
So why can't we just vote on it?
Vote on it now. I don't see it on here, but we can lift that
Yeah.
now.
Look in-
All it takes is a vote, is aye.
Yeah, we have no problem with meeting again next month about the easement and the cistern. That's not a problem for us, but we would like to go ahead and move forward with getting the permits for the house.
Right.
So you all have a copy of the release. It's in with the packet. And you just take a look at that and see if you would be able to, you know, put who's gonna maintain the cistern as a condition and go ahead and forward
Should we
with,
read this in the record?
I don't know if you have to.
Okay.
I think I just want you guys to make sure you're making a good decision, that's all. Because it refers to the lots being merged into one lot.
Yeah, but I don't, it says it's merged into Evans, the lots abutting Evans Hill Road, but don't they have one, exit on Chestnut?
No,
No, that,
Oh, that's gonna be just a driveway.
Right.
That's right.
yeah, that was taken away when the original subdivision was done, because they didn't want people from, Fort Point area running up through there to go to the dump through a residential area.
Then I got another question. Wells. Do we have to protect ourselves as a town on wells in that area because of the transfer?
I mean, they gotta get it's one lot, and he's gotta get a building permit.
No. And if
Yeah,
they're
but-
gonna go for a building permit, but we have to protect the town somehow.
But there is
It's
contamination.
a new building, and we've already got the wells up there because.
Oh, you meant from the dump?
Right. There's gotta be something we can do to protect the town and get these people going.
But we
what
also
was-
have to protect these people.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tom.
I think we also have to protect these people who are purchasing this. They need to know that there has been a problem with water in the area.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying, to protect
That-
everybody.
That's been disclosed, a lot
Okay.
So that's
throughout.
all.
I've talked about potential
Yeah, but-
contamination. I've given them the contact numbers to
But do we have it
call
in,
and find
do we
out.
have a writing or a release or something that covers the town? Because we don't want to have a well.
Well, let's ask the
Find out it's
applicant, what is your position on, what is your observation of the well and water situation?
I don't know if they're still there. Oh, there they
Yeah,
are.
they are.
Not sure. We never were able to really get through to anybody. We were trying to find the reports online. It was really hard for us to try and get them. I know our builder had done some research.
Well, the testing results we can get right here out of the town hall.
Okay.
Yeah, on the town wells.
you can ask, you can call Mary up, and Mary can dig out the, what we get for tests out of those wells up there.
Okay,
Because they're usually tested every May.
okay.
Just make a point, this was an approved subdivision.
Right.
After we knew that there was a problem up around, so, same thing.
But-
We did it then,
But I would like to make, but I would like to make sure that the town is covered somehow, where this is, you're doing a new building.
Yeah.
And I would like to see that, make sure that the town's covered somehow.
Well, obviously, they're covered, I mean, they're aware that there's a problem, they're covered, I mean, there was plenty of discussion that.
Well, if you remember way back when we put the dump in there, we were in trouble over at Lee Joyles and Alton there, it cost us.
Yeah,
So I would like to make sure that and I'd like to make sure, same with Frank Dolls.
Frank Dolls, that's
We
right.
ended up buying that 88 acres.
Does
Out of
that,
church.
does that fall under the purview of John?
Well, I just think that we should send it to Jim and ask him what we can do that the town's protected and still give them an okay to go.
We need advice on three things, right?
I think it's gonna be very difficult to move this forward tonight without, because these are some pretty important things. I mean, I'd love to move
We
it
can
forward.
still move it with the president. With setting this as the precedent, that we get all these back and they abide by it. That way they go and then they're ready for when we bring them back.
I just don't know how you guys are gonna do this release.
But we would do that at the time when we have an answer to these other three questions.
So,
We can't do this, because this presumes that we've approved the whole thing.
correct.
We
Wait a minute,
gotta have the answer to those three questions,
wait a minute. You can approve them with precedent, we do it all the time.
all with precedent.
With precedent, with
Right.
coming up with what Jim says and they follow what is said. It's what's
Right.
put in front of them.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just the chairman that needs to come in and sign, so it's not like all of you have to
Right.
sign it.
Right, but we have to give him direction.
So do you want to make it as two separate, actions by the board?
I think it needs to be separate.
Okay.
Okay.
So I would make a motion, wait a minute, do we want to, before we go any further with this, do we have, you said there's nobody on the public out there, Josh?
Not really, but I mean,
We
you
wouldn't have
can.
a public hearing on this one.
No, okay. Because it wasn't advertised as a public hearing. All right, okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the release of a hold on the building permits for tax map 15 lots, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Owner of record Mark and Megan Farrell.
Okay.
Probably should have done it the other way.
Yeah, because you have to add to that, and put as precedent,
No, he's gonna do another one.
This is just this, we have another motion that says
but you don't.
because this is only just says building permits. And then we would say that we were, approve the merger contingent upon those things. Okay?
Well, like I say, I mean, it probably should have been done in the other order, that they should have been merged, and then that.
That's what you
So
got.
that's what,
Oh, I see what
But
Roger.
these are all individual, this is listed as all individual lots. That's before the merger.
Right, and, but what that is that's putting a no building permit on all the lots.
It's taking it
It's
off.
taking it
all-
off.
Taking it off the lots.
it's taking it off.
Off all the lots.
They currently have-
Because we're doing a lot merge.
Right.
It's very simple, all I'm saying is we should have done take the lot merger off first, then done that, because you can't have that without the other.
Well, that would mean that they,
It's splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I understand you now.
but that means then we just continue the whole mess.
No,
We approved the lot merger, and then we,
Contingent,
Contingent.
contingent on what Jim sends us back and all the three that.
On those topics.
okay, so go ahead with that one.
Make a motion that we approve lot merger of map 15, lots 15, 14, 15, 15, 15, 16, 15, 17, 15, 18, 15, 19 on Evans Hill Road for Mark Farrell Jr. and Megan Farrell.
I will second that.
With precedence on the question of the well that is being sent to the town attorney,
Cistern.
the cistern, and
And the
bond,
bond,
or the
disposition of the
Disposition of the
bond.
bond.
disposition of the bond. Okay,
Anything else? I think that was it.
That's it.
Yeah, the
Okay.
question of
Scott Williams,
the
second.
water.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, take a vote.
No, I second it. Now we can have conversation.
I think we already did.
Tom was trying to have discussion. Tom,
I
what were
thought
you
we
saying?
conversed.
Huh?
All right, no discussion.
Oh,
Now we
don't you
can
need
vote.
to include the water supply?
That's what we just did. It's gotta go to Jim for clarification.
There are 3 items on that list, Tom.
Yeah, but you didn't mention that. What?
Yes, I mentioned the well,
That was
the
part of
water.
it?
Yes. Yes, that was part of my precedent.
Okay, I didn't hear you specify. I heard the well, that was it. Sorry.
So it's
Okay,
the
any further
potential-
discussion?
Potential groundwater contaminant, just to be clear.
Right.
Potential groundwater
And
contaminant.
how we get a release.
The cistern, how the cistern will be, maintained and accessed by the town, and the disposition of the construction bond.
Right.
And so we would approve the merger contingent upon whatever the answer that we get out of the town attorney's office
They have to
given
follow.
to the Farrells.
Yes. Do you agree with that, Mark? Or Megan?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
You got a
All right,
motion?
Bob.
Seconded.
Yep.
I think we're ready for a vote
I think
now.
that works.
Okay, Tom,
Works?
I think that works.
Aye.
Virgil, yes.
Roger, aye.
Scott, aye.
Russ, yes.
Bob,
Howard.
aye.
So I'd like to make another
Now we have one
motion,
more.
which is the release of hold on building permits for the tax map 15, lots 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Owner of record, Mark and Megan Farrell. This would be, that's it. Yeah.
Second.
Virgil seconded, good.
Okay, discussion?
And what's got to happen is this release would be signed by the chairman. I assume, is Drew gonna be available to?
Well, it would be
Bob.
Yeah, I'll have to reword this so that
It
it's
would-
Bob.
Yeah, it would be me acting.
Okay.
Now this is on, is this, how do I want to word it? They still have, before they get the building permit, they have to follow what Jim says or after?
Jim,
Yeah.
They have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
but we don't have to
So
do,
everybody's clear.
we don't have to do anything more.
We're
Okay,
done.
I see.
So,
Move to the question, Bob?
Yep. Any further discussion? That it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll take a vote.
Tom Boops, aye.
Virgil McDonald, aye.
Roger, aye.
Scott, aye.
Russ Wilder, aye.
Bob Regan, aye. Okay, next
There you
item.
go, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Think we didn't, hope we
Good
didn't.
luck.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thanks.
Welcome to Alton.
Happy farming. I hear you're gonna turn it into a farm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're turning it into a farm, right?
Oh, pretty much, yeah, for us.
That's what I heard anyway.
Put all your solar panels right out next door on the town property.
Okay.
We can work a deal next year.
Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, you.
Next item is, item B, under correspondence, case P 0421, Chestnut Cove subdivision. Board to vote
Just did
on
that.
release of hold on building permits. Okay, so that one's covered. You gotta bear with me, guys.
Nope.
C, case 2016, wetland buffer waiver request for map 21 lot 711, Clay Point Road. Joe Petrucci, owner.
Yep, so, I believe Joe and, his wife Joyce are at the museum. Cue the museum.
I see someone at the museum.
There we go.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, gotta get some heat on this building though.
It was not on earlier. so-
Well, it's not up, it's on, it's just not up. If nobody turns it up, then it's.
This,
Let's see,
Are you-
it's to obtain a waiver on the 25-foot wetland buffer to construct a driveway within the buffer zone in order to give access to an existing garage.
this shows your existing driveway out to an existing garage. You want to change this?
Goes on to somebody else's
I
property.
want to change it.
Is what we're seeing here proposed or what is actually there now?
The yellow is proposed,
Okay.
and it looks like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the existing gravel driveway crosses an adjacent lot, lot 7-1, onto 711, to access the garage. And so
You
what
can
he's,
put your hand out the window and hit the house.
what he's proposing is to build a new driveway entirely on 711. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
The existing garage is now a house.
Oh, I see.
What's that?
The existing garage is now a house,
Oh, okay.
and they're gonna give,
Plant another
are
garage.
you selling the existing 4-bedroom house? Is that what's?
No.
And they're putting in another?
3-bedroom.
No.
No, basically, they've been using somebody else's land to get to their house. They want their own driveway.
They own both.
Oh, do they own both?
Yeah.
We own both.
Well, I thought you looked familiar.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
And,
still,
and this doesn't encroach on the wetland itself, and it looks like a very minor impact to the 25-foot setback.
I have a question. Could the driveway be moved over into the 10-foot side setback and avoid the 25-foot buffer on the wetland?
Well, then I'd be within the 10-foot setback on the property line.
Yeah, we could allow you to do that. The planning board could allow you to do that instead of encroaching on the wetland buffer, encroach on the side
They
setback.
can do that right now, because we had this a long time ago, that the driveways, they wanted to count as a structure, and they're not a structure. So they can go within the setback.
So if they just moved it over, 7 or 8 feet, they wouldn't be here tonight.
Correct.
Right.
If I was to move it over,
Yeah, you can,
Yeah.
with a driveway, you can go right up your property line if you would like
yeah,
to.
but that septic system is right there at that property line almost, 10 feet from that property line.
Yeah, but
And
it's
it's
not
a
on that property, right? It's not on 711 at all.
Our septic system?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does that come over the property line?
We haven't put the new one in for the new house. It's in the back of that house.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but
The one in the front is on lot 7-1, is within the setbacks, the 25-foot front setback and the 10-foot side setback. So moving the driveway over to the right a little bit on 711 would have no effect on any of those things.
No, it would.
And you wouldn't have to get a permit from us, or you wouldn't have to get approval from us.
If we moved it over,
If we moved over.
we wouldn't have to get a.
yeah,
You wouldn't need any okay from us.
But I was
Put the
talking
driveway
to
in.
Endeavor, he said I'd be on the 10-foot sideline.
it's allowable to do that,
That's
sir.
legal. It's not a structure, it's a driveway.
The setback is only for structures.
He told me, I asked him that,
Who'd you ask?
John Devon.
John,
Well, he knows that
He
the
said that
driveway
it's
isn't a structure.
Back for the driveway. They changed it. It used
No,
to,
they didn't.
I thought, I
We
could
haven't
put up
changed
that
it.
property line.
We did one of these, the end of last year, or the very beginning of
Still
this year.
leaving 20,
The driveway in the setback.
Yeah,
let's make it easy. We'll give them a vote to move the driveway up the property line.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I make a motion that we allow him to move the driveway up the property line if he would like.
I will second that,
Within the 10-foot side.
within the 10-foot
10-foot
set.
setback.
all he has to do is move it at the entrance.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, that's it.
Once he gets by that setback, he can curve right in and
And then
do
you
it as
can
he.
curve it right in, and you won't be disturbing the wetlands, and you won't need us. But we're just making a motion to make it easier for you to go downstairs and get the permit.
What is he saying?
We're making it so you can move the road over on the property line if you would like. And you can still get the permit, because we're gonna okay it.
If you had seen the property, the existing septic system onto the right of that new driveway is a hill. There's a big hill.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Up to the driveway, the bank that, so that septic system doesn't leach through. And I don't want to get into that.
that's firm.
I
As
think
the,
it's more of a problem.
I make a motion to allow him to put the driveway where he's got it mapped.
we got a motion on the floor already though. We gotta do something with it.
I seconded, but you, if you want to withdraw it, withdraw
I'll
it.
withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw the second.
I'll make another motion to allow him to put the driveway on lot
711.
711.
Yep.
So are you saying that the slope of your septic system, septic area on lot 7-1, the slope of that system comes over onto lot 711?
There's a hill. I had to raise it up because of the land dropped to keep the septic system from leaching through. So there's a hill there.
Yeah, but his question of you, is that septic system slope stay on lot 7-1, or does it go onto 711?
He wants to know if this is on 711.
No, it's not on that. No.
Okay.
So I don't see any
That
reason,
property line.
so there's no impediment to moving the driveway over and avoiding having to get a variance. Not a variance, but an approval to encroach on the setback, on the wetlands buffer zone. And just looking at the contours, the contours don't change either. I don't see the problem.
He doesn't see the problem.
All right. You don't see it, but I see it. I've been building for 38 years. I see a little bit of a problem.
Should we go out and look at this?
I'll delay it, but.
Now we want to find it.
Well, if you see it, you'd make a better decision than this.
Would you like us to go?
Russ, let me ask you a question. From the point of view of the Conservation Commission, do you see a problem with encroaching on that buffer? I mean, because it
Well,
doesn't look.
I'm still leaving a buffer. You're still gonna have about 20 feet of buffer.
Yeah.
5 feet
when you apply reasoning for encroaching on a buffer zone or a wetland, is it a reasonable alternative to not do that? You should do that. You should do the reasonable alternative. And so I'm not hearing anything, or from what's presented tonight, to show that it would be necessary to encroach on the 25-foot setback.
No.
You know, you'd have to have a good reason, like you could say, I'd have to blast a bunch of ledge to get in there.
No, there's
You
no
know,
ledge. I'm only concerned about the existing septic system that I'm gonna go by. That's
Okay,
all.
so from what
I'd
I
have
can
to
see,
build this thing all up and move it over. You're talking a lot more to do it.
where
I'm
is the
hearing the
buffer?
discussion, if I'm hearing the discussion right,
That's a property line.
the only amount that you'd have to move the driveway in order to avoid the wetland setback would be about 5 feet. Is that correct?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So if he came in like this,
He can miss
and
the
just
ledge.
followed,
Trying to tell him.
and just followed the buffer, you're way away from this.
Right.
What's the, I mean, you can't get a scale off of this, but
But I'm gonna play devil's advocate. That's the man's land, 25 feet, we take away from him.
I've tried to say that. We're only gonna be 5 feet on the buffer for a distance of about 20 feet. And then we're off it.
Motion on the table.
Which one?
Let him put the driveway right where it is and give him the waiver.
Did we get rid of the first motion?
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah, well, I took it back.
I took back the second.
Motion, but no second.
I seconded it,
On
but I,
the-
right,
on
The new one.
do it as is.
I'll second that. Scott Williams, second.
Okay, take a vote.
Tom Hood, aye.
Roger McDonald, aye.
Roger, aye.
Scott Williams, aye.
Russ Wilder, no, and I'll tell you why, is because if you have a reasonable alternative to impacting either a wetland or a setback to a wetland, that's generally how we apply them and when you're doing permitting. So I just think that we're running against the normal way we would evaluate one of these things.
Do all communities have that setback to a wetland? I don't know if they, huh?
I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
Some don't
Bob,
have the plan.
Bob Regan, aye.
Well, we voted.
So you got it.
You're
all
all
set.
set, sir. You're all set with the driveway.
As is.
As presented.
Yep.
Got it, yeah.
You guys are all set.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Uh,
Have a good night.
I'll sleep better tonight now.
Next,
Well, we're certainly glad for that.
next item, I believe, went away. 20-17.
All right, so hold that thought. Let me. Okay, so 20-17. So just a quick recap of what this was. Is, last meeting, Sam Hollow came in, subdivided, right? He needed the Class 5 building permit from the Board of Selectmen as part of his approval. I do have, I think, John Devers also on the line, so he can help explain the situation, but Tibbetts Road is not a Class 6 road. It's classified as a private road, so that's a whole different process.
Don't mention the word private road.
No, there is no private road. There are no private roads.
Say that word. John on the line?
Okay, which can of worms do we want to go after?
We should have had John on the line for the last one. We need some sort of confirmation.
Okay, so that's my
Somebody
bad.
call him?
My phone,
Was that,
Somebody call him?
my text didn't go through. If
That was-
Scott can just give him a call.
wasn't that a town road at one time up in there?
I thought it was at one point.
It went all the way through.
That's an old town road there. That's, ain't private in there. An old town road that runs out over to one
Who said it was private?
It's listed in the classification, for town roads in town,
That was,
from the police department.
that can't be listed from the police department because they don't know whether it's private or.
Hey, John, sorry to bother you. We're in the planning board meeting, and Jessica sent you a text, and we are talking about the Tibbetts Road situation.
Right.
And Jessica mentioned the word private, so just so you'll know.
Is it better, I think maybe,
That's the problem.
I think maybe audio wise, is it better for him to
You want it right next to this?
just put it right next to, yes, perfect,
Okay, John, you're next to the speaker, or the microphone.
you're up.
I mean, I think you gotta look up the town maps to see if that was.
That's true.
You should probably look into the Colonel Clough's road inventory.
Yeah.
That's,
And I think John did, if we can let him
Okay.
speak, he might be able to.
okay, John, you have the floor.
Okay, hold on a second.
Did we wake you up?
No. I've dealt with Tibbetts Road a number of times over the years. Every time it's always been described as Class 6, which to me is town road,
Right.
because that's how you define it. After trying to get Mr. Hollow set up with all this, and this morning, the fire chief came by and we discussed it. And he has a lot of knowledge of Tibbetts Road because he lives there.
Yep.
And that's when he informed us that it's a private road. And when we looked, it is by our street locator and everything else, it's listed as a private road. So there's all that's required to build on a private road like that is a waiver of liability. There's no need to go to the selectmen or anything else because it's not a town road.
Well, how did we subdivide a lot on a private road to make road frontage then.
Because they also have frontage on Route 140.
Oh, that's right, okay.
He's not using 140 as his access.
Correct, but he has the front.
Frontage.
Yeah, it'd be bad coming in that way. This is the fire department telling us that it's a private road. What about?
No, it's also on record in the police department street locator and in the highway. It's not listed in the highway department's list of town roads. So it is a private road.
Okay, so it's not listed in Kenny's book, okay.
Correct.
John, has anybody looked at, Colonel Clough's road inventory situation that he did back in like 1970?
I didn't look at it yet for that, but
Okay, it might be just a safe bet to double check.
right.
I think what you have to check is whether it was discontinued, subject to gates and bars.
Yeah.
It's not, it has no signs that says it's subject to gates and bars.
A lot of our roads don't.
No, but they never post it that way. But in his book, it's listed.
All right, I can't understand all of what he's saying.
He said that it's listed with gates and bars to his knowledge. That's Tom Hoop saying.
Well, I'll look and verify, but regardless, as far as everything is concerned that we see, it's a private road, so.
All right. Okay, well then, we're done with it at that point.
Right. So I just,
Yeah, it's simply a waiver of liability, very similar to the Class 6 one, but it's for a private road.
Right.
I just wanted the board to note that, condition precedent number 11 is now gonna be void.
Because of this.
Not needing that, so just so that you're aware. I'm not expecting that to come in.
I think if you can make that clear in the record that that's what happened, that
Yes.
the date and stuff.
Yep, I'm gonna.
So we don't have to go back and revisit.
I know one time the fire chief did come in to try to subdivide on the family
Yeah.
Tibbetts farm up there. And we couldn't do it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
The lots didn't meet standards.
Correct. And didn't have frontage because of a private
Right.
road.
And,
Okay,
I mean, to get the other end, you gotta go to Gilman,
well, Tibbetts Road.
Right.
go to Timmins Road in Barnstead, right? Yeah.
No, Gilman.
Gilman.
Gilman, yeah, just above North Road,
Comes out
Yep,
up
yep.
above the,
Fire station.
of the fire station.
and the cemetery that's up there.
Yeah. Skull Farm. Okay, we all set with John?
Well, just,
Nope, hold on,
on our last
Thank you,
case,
John.
John,
hold on.
If I ain't mistaken, back in the 70s, we did work up there. On that road.
well, let me just ask John about this, so he can go. On our last case, John, a case came in where they wanted to move their driveway, and you told them they couldn't put it in the setback,
The side,
But,
the side setback.
It was a wetland buffer.
Petrucci.
well, that applies to the entrance where it comes in off the road, and that's to keep and maintain the radius.
Oh, that's why you have them set back to maintain.
That's what, there, but eventually, a lot of them run into the setback as they go back. The one, if I remember correctly, the one up on Prospect Mountain, that they ended up getting a waiver to go by wetlands or whatever, in the wetlands buffer, but they were also in the setback, but that was the only place to go.
Yeah.
Barrett.
Yeah, and the thing about it is which I understand, and I wish the town would change the rules on this. I would like to see every driveway have a 30-foot apron. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, when you put a 20-foot culvert in there and you put head walls, you're gonna lose 18 inches to 2 feet on either end. Now you have a 16-foot access. Try driving in a ladder truck or a big fire truck and negotiating into that driveway. It's just, so 30-foot, I feel, needs to happen, but I've preached about this for 10 years and still haven't gotten anywhere.
You should be putting it on Zach. The Zach committee should be working on that.
Good point. Jess, write that down, please.
Thank you. You should be adding that to the ordinances, and this is why.
You see, did I get it on that, John?
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely understand.
Yeah, so your only issue with the setback was just out the road, it's the radius.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's that's part of the requirement when they come in, then they're not cutting over the property line on their radius.
Right, they definitely can't do that.
Now it makes sense.
Well, that's not the way it got delivered to us.
Yeah, exactly.
We got something different.
right? Did I give it to you?
No.
No, you didn't. Yeah, we got,
Right on the money.
I mean, my goal is always to try to keep them out of setback if possible.
Right, absolutely, that makes perfect sense.
Sounds like we were right and didn't know it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, anything else for John? We'll let him go back to whatever he was doing.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Have a good evening. See ya.
Well, have a nice night.
You too, bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, last item is a letter from Penny Williams. W&W Ralph Trust LLC, Scott L. Williams, member manager, would like to request time for discussion concerning Ingalls Terrace, Alton, New Hampshire. Topics are consulting engineer, removal of one culvert, and use of 304.4 gravel in lieu of 304.2 gravel.
Okay, at this point, I want to, for the record, I am withdrawing from the board for the moment.
do we still have a quorum?
Yes, yeah.
No, because I thought you said we have to have a quorum here.
Oh, we don't have to, no,
That's
that's waived right now with emergency meetings and
Yeah,
COVID.
we're on remote.
We have two remotes.
okay, fine, just thought I'd clarify, because when we talked this afternoon, it sounded to me like we needed 4, otherwise I would have stayed on.
Yeah.
Why she said last night, having you on the master plan.
Sorry.
I know.
Okay, so for the record, I am now sitting away from the board, even though I'm sitting at the bench. I turned down my name tag, so I'm not. Anyway, the reason I wanted to talk with you folks, and I think it has gotten better since I got the chairman of the board involved. Back in April, and Tom, you'll appreciate this, Mr. Leonard from North Point Engineering came up as a request of Jessica, which I asked her to have him come up and view my subgrade. And he never got out of his vehicle. He was very slow at getting a letter to us at his findings. I received it. I was looking for it sometime tonight, and or the other day, and I could not find it. But it was sometime in June that I finally received this letter from him.
How long did it take to get it?
From April. And then the bill was $850. And the.
Sorry.
Tom.
No, I just know
what-
our history.
His words were windshield survey, okay?
Is it raining?
Huh?
Is it raining?
It was damp out.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So that was that. And then, nothing was happening. And then Jessica asked me for why I didn't do a pre-construction meeting. Well, when my plan was approved, pre-construction meetings didn't happen. So I don't feel I'm bound to that. But I did come in for pre-construction meeting.
You should have one though. It's in the record
Okay, well,
at the very beginning.
okay. Well, then we had it. But anyway, it's whatever. And, so the verbiage that Mr. Leonard used that was kind of antagonistic, now I'm gonna paraphrase, he made it sound like the applicant, the owner, and then the contractor knows everything, which I feel was a little inappropriate. I have built several roads in my career. They're all still in good shape. And so this went stalemate on and on and on. AOT, we had an AOT permit. We let it expire because we grubbed out the whole subdivision at one point. We did all the wetlands crossings at one point to get all that behind us. So we didn't have to keep renewing things. So all the wetlands crossings were done immediately. And so in the AOT, Ridgemark has told us that once the grubbing is complete, your AOT has been satisfied. And we have done that on the whole, even Fallon Lane, way. My current impact, extending Ingalls Terrace Road of 600-ish feet, I have impacted about 40,000 square feet. And I have a plan here if anybody wants to see it. And it's an aerial map. And feel free to look at it. And that's the level of impact that we have. The roadway is laid out where it's supposed to be, and it shows that we have kept it within the right of ways. And this house here that we built, that's the area where the house is to sit via the septic plan, and I guess we put it in the right spot because it's right on the money. And so we stalemated all summer long, and I still don't know if we've solved the AOT issue. But I feel it's a non-issue. Ekman Engineering, I have paperwork here, and Jessica has it as well, saying that they agree that we don't need it. So the meeting I had with Mr. Leonard a week ago, Monday, actually was a very pleasant meeting. Things went very well. He came in as far as my subgrade, and I think he concurred that we had done it right and things of this nature. And so the situation of the culvert I've been talking to him about it. And the original plan shows the culvert dumping out on the property line right here. And it's a cut of about 5 to 6 feet. And I've tried to, right down the property line is where the culvert's supposed to go. And right here, there's a natural swale that goes right down here as well. And so I suggested we use that. And that's where the headaches come in. And so we have presented to him what we call a super elevated road. And what that means is instead of having a crown road, we're going to pick up one side of it and dump it all off one side, which will take it down, go through the ditch lines there, grass line swales, and it will all be treated when it gets into that ditch line that I told you that's already existing. I don't know why the original drainage engineer didn't dump the water there to begin with. But this is why they say if you encounter things that aren't copacetic, you talk about it.
So why can't you just put that on an as-built?
But you have a plan that's approved, that, you know, whether it was in error or not. And then usually when you get in the field, you do, you know, there's requests for changes, what are they, change order requests.
Yes.
That's part of your as-built.
Well, that's basically what I've done.
But you know, so if you had an owner, if you were working for an owner, and you'd get paid more or less for a change order, because it would be different than the original
Well,
plan.
I'm not paying myself anymore.
I understand that. I would think that if there's going to be a change to the plan that the planning board approved, somehow you have to, whether you come to the planning board, go to John or somebody, you know.
I don't have a problem with that, but it has just been a stalemate, a stone wall.
So the point you're trying to make is that you don't think that the engineer is treating it right.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I complained about the $850 and the Trace Construction meeting, and I have Mr. Leonard and one of his associates. I haven't got that bill yet, just can't wait. So, and, you know, his first time was saying, well, I spent a lot of time reviewing the previous part of the phase one. Well, phase one is done, Farmhouse Land Development did it, and he didn't like that we removed the ditch lines right from the side of the road. We just shut it out. All the water still goes in the same place. And Jessica says that she concurs with him that I need to do all new drainage calculations and stuff like that, and shooting Farmhouse in the foot, in my eyes.
Well, so the first part, that's up to the pavement, right?
Yep.
That's all been approved and accepted?
It's not accepted by the town.
It's not accepted by the town.
Because I don't want it to be accepted by the town, because in April, Scott likes to go to work, and if with the weight limits on the road, if I let the town accept it, I can't go to work.
All right, so it's not accepted.
No, it's not accepted. So I don't intend to have it accepted until I'm done with the project.
So, but if there is a change as you go along, how is that normally handled?
As-built.
Well, you know.
Yeah, but you gotta get approval, I would think, to change what was approved, right?
Let me give you a little bit more history.
Here you go again, taking a private road and telling a private person that has the private road that what he's gonna do with his property, when all he should have to do is an as-built until the road comes in front of the select board for acceptance.
But what if he decides that the road's gonna go this way or that way, something major? You can't do that, because I'm just trying to get to a process. I'm not arguing
I know.
with you, but I'm just trying to find out. The planning board gets a set of plans. and they approve those set of plans. Then the construction begins, and there's gotta be some changes. How do the changes get handled in this town?
Okay,
Can
let me
Jessica answer that?
Let me answer that. The plan was originally drawn with catch basins and things of this nature. We said, you know, when Farmhouse came in, he says, what on earth do you have catch basins for? He's gonna have to have vacuum trucks come in and clean these things out. He says, why don't you do head walls? That's great, and I gave the town, I have an easement up 25 feet of everybody's lot going up the street.
So how did you change, how did you go about doing it?
Farmhouse just said, go ahead and do it, and then Kenny approved it. Roberts. And Kenny Roberts approved the water that comes down this side of the roadway to dump into the brook here.
Yeah, and
Kevin
I'm
doesn't-
not arguing that that's.
Yeah, and Kevin doesn't like that idea, so.
I want to get from Jessica, how does a plan that was approved by the planning board have minor changes or any changes to it?
He just told you. He said
No,
right there.
I want to ask her.
So,
He just told you.
seriously?
And that's what she gets paid for. She
Yeah,
gets paid.
don't, I would.
You're just gonna assume I don't know what I'm doing?
Let her.
Let me take that back.
Can I answer his question, please?
Yeah, this can't be unsaid.
So I understand, Scott, he just explained what things were done in the past. Kenny approved things, but that's not how things just go. That's not how things are supposed to get approved. So if there are changes to an approval on a subdivision plan, the town engineer takes a look at that. And between the town engineer and the planner, the planning department, come to the conclusion whether it's a substantial change. If it's a substantial change to the approval, then that needs to come in for a subdivision amendment.
So it would come back to the planning board at that point?
Yes.
All right.
If it's just, you know, if it's just minor changes, like the gravel, things like that, like that's just a minor change.
The gravel part has been handled
You know,
already.
So that,
And that's.
I don't want to talk about specifics on.
So if there are just minor changes, then the town engineer approves those minor changes and it gets.
So the town engineer.
Letter or
Let me ask
Hire the town engineer to act on our behalf,
Wait a
to
minute.
do these things, right?
All right,
Correct.
so let me ask you this.
Yes.
Farmhouse Engineering was town engineer at one time.
Yes, he was.
This is phase one of this project. Now, you've got Farmhouse and Kenny saying, yes, do this. Now, with what, 8 years, 10 years into the makings, phase one's done. Now you have a new town engineer, which is the town's fault, because they should have kept the same engineer, well, no matter what the cost. Now you're down, 10 years down the road, you've got a new engineer.
He
that comes up with all-
moved on, he moved on.
Hang on a minute. And you want to take phase one that's all done and say, no, you've changed this, you've changed that, when the engineer, the engineer that the town had at the time.
It's not all done, Virgil, because it hasn't been accepted by, he hasn't asked the town to accept it.
But we have no right, if you read the road had traveled that I got, because that's what they wanted me to read, and I've read it. The planning board has no right to tell people how to build a road or accept the road. And it's right in the hard road traveled.
I think you're misreading it.
No, I'm not misreading it.
This road is built to the same spec that I-95 is built to.
It's fine. I don't disagree with you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about process.
Yep. But the thing about it is,
Jessica can only do process, and you
and I'm
can't,
gonna talk about process. This was all approved as we want to, by the engineer.
by the
Now,
town engineer.
But to make that a town road now, it's double jeopardy on me, and that's not right.
What do you mean double jeopardy?
If you're saying that you won't approve these things, you're gonna send me back to the planning board, that's double jeopardy.
But you're gonna ask the town to accept that road, right?
Yeah, have you been on it?
Board.
I know about that.
Wait a minute, Russ.
And I
Wait a
think
minute.
the rest
That
of the
has
town
nothing to do with this board, whether he's gonna ask the town to accept the road or not. That has nothing to do with the planning board.
Okay.
I agree. I agree.
So to comment on what we're saying, so, and I emailed this to you before, that when you do come into final road approval and the board looks at, you know, was the road built to the approval? And if things are changed, it's gonna get complicated.
Why don't the town
And
have the?
that's what I was trying to point out to you before.
Yeah, but the thing about it is why is Mr. Leonard looking into this? It's not even his job, it's not his scope of what he's doing. He's looking at phase two,
Right.
and that's what he should pay attention to.
So the drainage that you changed to create that right of way in phase one, you wanna do in phase two and you wanna do in phase three.
But not,
Can you
well,
just answer that? Is that?
that's not 100% yes, and it's not 100% no, because in some of the areas, it goes down to the slope, and there's a ditch line that goes in there. And we're putting the water where it's intended to go.
But it's gonna change somewhat into phase two. Like, it's not gonna be as approved, so that's my point.
I have a ditch line coming down the side of the street that's gonna be there.
It's different.
No, it's basically per plan, but it might be set back a little bit, but
You had farmhouse, which is, Juliet.
Pete Julia.
Pete Juliet. If we had him, we don't have where he changed that?
But in the record,
Something in here.
I'm not aware that
He
that's
was the town
been,
engineer.
if he was the town engineer at the time, he would have, any.
Would have wrote a report.
A minor, like you're saying, a minor adjustment. He would have made a record of it, a report, billed us for it, and it would be in the file.
Can we?
and it-
Well, just be aware that we had a planner here that loved to throw things away.
Yes.
Not you.
Oh, no,
I know,
yes,
and I,
we
and
did.
I agree.
No,
But can we
it was
get-
the building inspector, Scott, not the planner.
I don't want to mention any names, but, it was a planner.
but
No, I disagree.
Okay,
can we get a hold of Kenny and Mr. Juliet and find out and get the reports?
You did send me some info from Ken.
yep, on the catch basins
That was more
and,
recent. Yeah, that was.
well, he agrees with keeping the crown of the road here and letting it go down the westerly side of the road. There is such little, I mean, you should have been there the other day when it was pouring buckets. There's hardly any water moving, and it's dirt, you know, and and there are no wash lines, you know.
What you built, to me, it's a nice road. But I don't, that's not.
That's not your point. I understand that.
Right.
It's all about process, so.
Is Pete Juliet still around?
He works for an international company now, so I don't know where he is.
Did we try to get a hold of him? I mean, he's got a good head on his shoulders, he'll probably remember it.
And the board really enjoyed Pete Juliet.
Yes, he was one of the better
Do you
engineers.
agree with that, Tom?
It was,
But he left the town, it wasn't the town.
Right,
He left.
right.
You know, and I did my as-built on phase one, which you should have. So,
But it shouldn't
That
be,
in
it
as-built?
should be about personalities.
no, but it became about
No, but
personality.
it should be about process.
You know, for him to write that, I feel like I know everything, that's just a kick in the pants.
Well, that's
He
not.
shouldn't be doing phase one anyways.
Yeah, and he has nothing to do with phase one.
If you're hiring him to go into phase two, then that's what he should be looking at. Phase one, he shouldn't even be touching.
And I'm being billed for all this. And the thing about it is,
That's
he's
bringing
billing me
engineer billing.
to fight, tell me that I have to do this, and I'm paying this guy to say, no, that's not right. And so I'm paying both sides of the coin here. And that's just,
You shouldn't have to pay twice for the same road.
oh,
I mean, if you hire an engineer.
and I had an
you're
engineer
into
to
phase
begin
two.
with.
If you're hiring an engineer because you're into phase two, he shouldn't be getting paid for phase one in the town. This board should step up and say, no, we're in phase two, not in phase one.
That's between Jessica and him. I mean, I'm out of that conversation.
As I recommended to have David Ekman talk with Kevin Leonard, instead of corresponding back and forth via email, I think it's this, I think it's that.
Wait
They
till you
should just
get that
talk. Just talk
Yeah, well, I think they have, but I'm not sure.
and come up with a resolution.
You'll get it the first of
Instead
the
of,
month.
because it's a back and forth right now. and
Right.
It shouldn't be.
Yep.
It should be a conversation, get it done and over with.
Well, the thing about it is you go back with the engineer, and I have farmhouse inspections. We were doing the culverts back in 2010. So AOTs, they say last for 10 years. Well, we're 2020, and that was, the culverts were going in. We already had the roadbed excavated at that time, so we had met our AOT obligation at that point in time. And he won't believe this. And we have the reports.
Well, what I think should be done is you should make a written complaint as a citizen of exactly what you're,
Well, you realize what that does to you, though, when you get,
I mean, I'm just saying.
he's gonna put me in his crosshairs, and I'll never get anything done.
Right, yeah,
Well,
that's exactly right.
Yes, sir, damn right it is right,
Exactly right.
because he's proved that already by his original letter out of the gate. That he was,
You wait.
yeah, and this has been since April, and it is now middle of November, October. 6 months.
And this
It's not fair.
and this
well, he does work for us.
But-
Yeah, I understand that.
We've had nothing but complaints all last year about the town engineers that we hire and overcharging and not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Because we remember the thing up here, $22,000 for that self-storage thing.
Yeah,
That's
here's
absurd.
Here's another prime example of it.
Yep.
$800 for a windshield inspection on something that's already finished.
Do we have?
And he should be up phase two.
About this individual from other builders and contractors?
Other than the,
Storage.
self-storage.
We had a problem.
That was serious gouging, serious gouging.
Is there any others, how many other projects has he done for?
I would have to look specifically, but not really very many.
So it may be a fairly high percentage of 2 out of 5. That's
pretty steep.
That might be significant.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So I think that, we need to honor, if people are having difficulties with, our engineer, I think we need to look into it.
Right, and I think this year, so this year when you guys voted, you voted in to keep the 2 engineers that you had.
Yeah.
And the part of that motion was that next year we put out for an RFP.
Which will be in January, right?
Right.
21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, but I think even if we get new engineers, I think we're still gonna be going through this problem. I mean, I don't understand.
know how to do that, but I've had my sub-material
You know what I mean?
gradation done. And they told me that I didn't need compaction on my subgrade. Well, I did it anyway. Well, Leonard's guy, the other guy that was assistant says, oh, you don't need to, you were there. He says, you don't need to compaction test this. Well, I did, because I didn't want it to be an issue. And so Kevin said, when I'm putting in the 3044, he says, no more than 12-inch lift. I want compaction done. Fair, fine, because we're gonna have 18 inches of 3044 in there.
12 inches they're doing?
Every 12 inches he wants to lift.
Or 8 or something?
Oh, no, 12 inches is the standard.
Usually it's a 1-foot standard lift.
I was just thinking about the work that we
And
did.
if you were in there, you saw the size of my compactor.
Right.
The neighborhood
We did,
hates it when I'm using it.
We did the widening of, Route 3 from Burlington to Nashua. And, it was like 6 inches,
Yeah, I did.
The only difference between this road and
Andrew.
a highway is the thickness of the asphalt they put on, because
Yeah, I think there's, New Hampshire's got like a 2.5 or 3 foot sand blanket on the bottom and crushed gravel and.
they tell me that this is built to the same spec that 95 is.
Right.
So, and everybody's using this 3044 because sand products are no longer available.
I don't want to belabor this too long, but what I'm interested in any board that I'm on is clarity and process. And if there is a problem, we need to, and it appears like there might be one here.
I think it's the same.
To look into it,
But we've been dealing with it forever, and I'll go back, and Tom, you were on the board when I had CMA engineers, and I went through the records, I saw another one that was there.
We can call them again if you want.
What's that?
We can call them again.
No, but I paid more to Russ than I did to have it engineered in the wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah. You were being charged for interns doing other people's work.
Yeah, and it took Bob Baer to say, oh, you're an EIT, get away from this table.
All right.
Well, I don't understand is why, if you've got an engineer that's got to stand, why can't we send an engineer when it's all done? He has the reports of the compaction, he's got the reports of the pavement, he's got the reports of the gravel.
I've said this.
And send it in at the end of the project to say, review this, go out and look at the project.
I think that would work as long as there were clear directives of exactly what has to be inspected and all the requirements and documentation.
And leave it up to the guy building the road to make sure he gets all these documentations.
I have said since I first became a member of this board that if I want to work for the town of Alton and haul some gravel, I have to provide a certificate of insurance before 1 grain of dirt goes in the back of my truck.
Right.
We let these guys design roads, and I'm going to say we'll use Ridge Road as a classic example of bad engineering. Now, if we they should have lost another lot there. If we had their certificate of insurance, we could call on it. And we don't do that. And I've been on the board 10, 12 years, somewhere around there, and we still do not require people to provide a certificate of insurance.
Maybe we should bring it up in the workshop.
I actually looked into that. I asked that question out to the plan links, so the planners forum throughout the state. And pretty much everyone that responded to that asking me like, that's not how it works. why are you asking for a certificate of insurance? That's what bonding, that's that bonding RSA.
Well, why pay for it twice? Now you're providing a bond that costs you money, and if the guy did it right to begin with, his insurance will do it, and if it comes out wrong, his insurance pays the bill.
I get it.
It's frustrating, Jess, it really is.
And the problem with the bonds is it's never enough to fix it.
Okay,
Right.
I want to go home.
So there's just
Thank you
one
for
more thing.
listening.
Someone on the agenda.
Okay.
Are you aware?
I'm back on the board.
So, the last thing on the agenda, so I just wanted to, Bill O'Neill, our prospective alternate, has been joining us. This is his third meeting. According to your bylaws, your prospective alternate needs to attend the 3 meetings. So if he's still interested, we can have the.
Have we scared you away?
We can have we can have the chairman, make a motion to,
Accept it?
accept you as an alternate.
If he's
Okay,
willing.
I'll make the motion that we accept the appointment of the alternate.
Second.
Do you accept that?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you guys do a?
Virgil,
He has
aye.
the right. He has the right to sit at the table and to vote, but he doesn't vote unless he's appointed to replace someone.
What was that?
He can
But
only
he
say,
participates.
he can only vote if somebody's out. Like tonight, he could have voted for Drew.
Right,
I'd like to ask one question.
but even as an alternate, he can ask questions.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So, are you still interested?
Yeah, I asked him that.
Yes.
I want, for the record, it's clear, you're still interested, okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Thank you.
Call for the vote.
Virgil,
Okay.
aye.
Tom Hoop's aye.
Under aye.
Scott, aye.
Russ Wilder, aye.
Bob Reagan, aye.
Sounds like it's unanimous.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Can I have each one of you sign this form?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I can't reach there.
Yeah, you'll have to come down tomorrow, Tom.
I will. I have to be in town tomorrow anyway.
Nope, that's not today.
Okay.
You can come in and.
Well, the next, he can get sworn at. He needs,
Oh,
Yeah, pass it that way.
If you can't get in, if you can't have time to get in to see Lisa, just come in and I'll have her bring it up and I'll
Yeah,
have
Because
you swear you
he's
in.
gonna meet with Amelia and I anyways. So,
So you'll get the current zoning regs.
The sign way down here, was there
Yeah.
a reason for that?
Yeah, because I'm a selectman, I'm just a rep here.
So it doesn't make a difference what we sign.
no.
The only time I sign up on top is the bill.
Yeah, I'll have to come in to sign that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be in the morning, Jessica.
Okay, good.
Number.
Okay, I guess all that's left is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Tom
Virgil,
Hoop's aye.
Roger, aye.
Scott, aye.
Russ?
Aye.
There you go.
Bob Reagan, aye.
I'm one of these people. with
Thank you,
agendas
Bob. Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks, everybody.
Take it easy. Be good, guys.
Thank you, Bob. You did a great job.